Have you ever noticed how quickly you can make something your fault? Someone is upset with you, and immediately you start wondering, what did I do wrong? Or a relationship isn't going well, and you think, I'm too much, I'm too sensitive, too demanding. Maybe if I were different, this wouldn't be happening. Or you don't get something done on time. You forget something, you made a mistake. Something goes wrong that you didn't even cause, and somehow your mind can still find its way back to you. I should have known, I should have done this differently if I had just fill in the blank, right? If you recognize yourself in any of this, there may be a belief operating underneath the way you experience your life. And that belief may say, everything is my fault. And it doesn't necessarily show up in these exact words, right? It might show up as constantly questioning yourself, taking responsibility for other people's feelings, assuming that when something goes wrong, you must have done something wrong, or believing that if you had just done something differently, you could have prevented whatever happened. And that's what I want to explore with you today, because this is a really good example of how an adapted belief can shape the way you see yourself and your life. And this belief can show up in a lot of different ways, right? Maybe you're not experiencing the health you want, right? Maybe you have a few extra pounds or something. And instead of simply being able to look at what's happening here and decide what you want to do from here, it becomes, oh my gosh, it's because I'm a loser. I did this to myself. This is all my fault, right? Maybe you get injured and you said, oh, I knew I shouldn't. I should have stopped. Why didn't I stop? I should have known better. Gosh, now I'm injured and it's all my fault. If it can happen also when something is completely outside of your control. I had a person who told me they went to the grocery store and another shopper left their cart sitting in the parking lot. The wind picked up and the cart rolled across the parking lot and banged into their car. Now, they were kind of mad at first, right? And they thought, who leaves their cart sitting here? But somehow, eventually, it came back to them. Oh, if I'd just gone to the store last night like I was supposed to, I knew I should have gone, but I was too lazy. And if I'd have just done what I was supposed to do, this wouldn't have happened. And there it was again. It was her fault. Now, think about what it's like to live inside a belief like that, right? You're essentially always the one who's wrong. Anything that goes badly and your brain starts looking for you, the part that you played in it. Somebody's unhappy and you look for what you should have done differently. Something painful happens, and instead of simply being allowed to experience the pain of what happened, you add another layer to it by making yourself responsible for it. That is a very painful way to live. And there's a reason a belief like this can develop. For example, a child believing it's my fault, sometimes that feels safer than recognizing that the people that you depend on are inconsistent or unable to meet your needs. If the problem is you, then you can fix that, right? You don't want them to be the problem. You depend on them, right? And so that can be really scary if they're not capable. You can't control another person, what they're able or willing and how they're willing to and able to meet your needs. But if the problem is you, oh, there's hope, right? Because maybe I can fix myself. Maybe I can be better. Maybe I can be easier or not need so much. Maybe I can figure out exactly what I need to do so that you will take care of me, right? And of course, this makes sense, right? That the child makes up the belief, it must be me. The problem is that this belief follows you. Right? You can become an adult who is still living in a world where somehow everything comes back to you. Now, this doesn't mean that we stop taking responsibility for ourselves. There are absolutely things that are within our control, and times when we do hurt someone, make a mistake, or recognize something about the way we're living that we want to change, right? But part of becoming our expansive self is being able to look at those things with honesty and decide what we want to do differently. But that's very different from living with a default belief that you are responsible for the whole world and all of the things that happen in it that aren't good. I mean, imagine the difference between living under those two systems. In one, something goes wrong and the immediate question is, what did I do? Where did I go wrong? What mistake did I make? And in the other, you can look at what happened and ask, is there something here that belongs to me? Anything I want to learn from this? Anything I want to do differently? Sometimes the answer will be yes, and sometimes it will be no. And you get to let that be true. Now, before we keep going, if you're listening to this and you're thinking, oh gosh, I think I do that, take a second to like the video, subscribe to the channel, because it helps more people find this work. And I would love to have you here as we keep exploring what it actually looks like to move out of our old adaptive beliefs and create something different. So this is just one adapted belief, right? And we all have usually dozens of them. So what do? Right? Beliefs about who you are and what you deserve, and what you have to accomplish to be enough, what relationships are like, what money is like, what your body has to look like. All of these is why this work matters so much, because these beliefs don't just live somewhere in your head, they become your life. They affect what you try for and what you don't, what you tolerate, what you are willing to walk away from, who you choose, what you expect, how you treat yourself, how much joy you allow yourself to have, and even what you can imagine being possible for you. So when we start identifying these beliefs, we're not just learning something interesting about ourselves, we're giving ourselves a choice. Do I still want to live this way? Do I still want to believe this? Is this actually who I am, or is this something I learned a long time ago because it helped me navigate my life? You don't have to spend the rest of your life living by the beliefs you developed when you were just trying to get through, right? There's another version of you underneath all of that, a version who gets to decide what she believes now, who gets to discover what she wants, who gets to find out what her life can look like when she isn't automatically following a set of instructions that you never consciously chose. That is the expansive self. And that's really what all of this work is about. It's not about fixing you or becoming a better version of yourself necessarily. It's finding out who you are and what your life can become when you are finally free to choose. If you want to begin that work, my book, You're Not the Problem, is the starting point. I've also put some resources on my website to help you get going, because you really do deserve the chance to find out what else could be possible for you. If this video was helpful, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. We're going to keep doing this work together, looking at the things that have shaped us, questioning what we've always assumed was true, and making more room for the lives we actually want to live. I'll see you soon.